What's good, everyone? Pro-Verbs back again with another one. And today, I just want to talk about how the world is just drawn and attracted to negativity. You know, people they just love the drama. They love the gossip. They just want to be in the mix of things where things just sounds juicy or whatnot. We living in the age right now where up is down, down is up, left is right, and so forth. Wrong is right, right is wrong. Now bad is good and good is bad, and so on and so forth. It's crazy. And nobody really wants the truth nowadays. People actually want to be deceived. I am convinced because, listen, I've experienced it so many times. Sometimes when you tell people the truth, they don't accept it. But once you tell them a lie, they accept that. I'm telling you, your life is really backwards. Life is really backwards. And there's not too much people. Well, I'm not going to say too much people, but a lot of individuals who go to certain heights in life or become prosperous. And I'm not going to say this for everybody, so I'm using a disclaimer, not everybody. But there is quite a few numbers of people. They would use deception, manipulation to get what they want out of life. Which brings me to the point of this book that I've been reading lately. I haven't quite finished it, but I'm pretty sure y'all know this book. It's called The 48 Laws of Power. And from what I've read so far, excuse me, that if you want to get what you want in life, you're trying to achieve power, you're trying to make money or, get over on people to get whatever that you really want from them, in certain cases, you have to use manipulation. You have to use deceit, deception, and you have to have some type of leverage to gain advantage over certain individuals, and excuse me. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to be manipulative or deceptive or anything like that. But the thing is, we all, I'm just going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it a buck. We all have been deceptive in some way, shape, or form because we wanted to get what we want. We wanted to get our own way. And sometimes we use manipulation. Sometimes we guilt people, make them feel bad about something just so we can get what we want to get out of them. We may use deception, tell a little white lie, or try to use people against one another just to gain some type of advantage or create some kind of drama where you may weasel your way into some situation where you can, gain something out of that. You know what I mean? But we all have been there. And we will be lying to ourselves if we say we never use any type of manipulation or deception on anybody. It may be something where you may not fully go in it with the understanding of what you're doing. And some of us, we really go in the full understanding of what we're doing. Sometimes it may be the case where as a child, and children can be very, very manipulative. As a child, you may ask your parent, oh, can I get this toy? Can I get this candy? Or whatnot, right? And the parent may say no. Then the child may be like, it's not fair. So and so have this, so and so have that, and they start crying and they just getting all emotional. And then they may pull on the strings, the heartstrings of the parent, and the parent will be like, all right, fine. Or they just may get tired of the crying and just give in. Sometimes we, even as adults, we may throw little temper tantrums, or we may say something in the effect where they're gonna feel bad, they're gonna feel guilty because they may be guilt tripping you, or tell a little white lie about something where it's like they may look at it, oh, it's nothing that serious, it's just harmless or whatever. But still, that's deception. Sometimes we just want to be in the position of power where we can be able to control our environment or the people that's within the environment or individual. So, I mean, this is a very powerful book, very powerful, and it has a lot of manipulative tactics, deceptive tactics, and as I said before, I'm not encouraging anybody to do any of these things. But from what I've learned, and this is what I've learned, and there is a difference. I'm gonna come with the difference in what I'm about to say. But what I've learned, it never pays to be a nice person. It doesn't pay to be a nice person. And I'm gonna let you know what I mean by that. It's not saying don't be a good person and do good things. I'm not saying that. Now, the difference between being nice and being good, trust me, there is a distinction between the two. Now, when you consider yourself as a very nice person, basically a nice person cannot say no to people, because within themselves they feel as if they say no, it may hurt the person may feel bad, and then ultimately they will feel bad, they'll feel guilty. And that's the thing with a nice person, they will feel some sort of guilt if they don't do for somebody, or they may say no to somebody. They will internally feel bad if they were to say that word. So that's why they hardly ever say no. Majority of the time, a person say, oh, I'm a nice person, they gonna always be at your beck and call. They're gonna always try to live up to that name, nice. They're gonna try to live up to it. You understand what I'm saying? So versus a good person is only gonna be good to those who actually deserve it. I'm telling you, a good person, they know that they're a good person. But even a good person may have flaws, but at the end of the day, they're not going to reward someone who does not deserve it. They may have mercy from time to time if the mercy is, if it's necessary, but primarily they're only going to be good to those who have been good to them, and they know how to spread that goodness. They're not just gonna all willy-nilly just like, here, you get this, you get that, boom, 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 and just be at your beck and call. No, even a good person knows how to say no, versus the person who's a nice person, they can't say no. It's hard for them to say no. They'll feel bad if they were to say no. So that's the difference between being the nice person and the good person. So that's what I've learned. Sometimes, listen, there are cases where you have to usurp some type of dominance over a situation or over a person. And what I mean by that, sometimes people will take your kindness for weakness, and they will try to take full advantage, and they will feel like they can talk to you any certain type of ways or treat you any type of ways. Now, all that goodness you got to throw that out the window. That's when you stand 10 toes down and let them know, listen, that ain't about to fly. You ain't about to treat me this way. You ain't about to talk to me this way. And you let them know what's up. You're gonna have to articulate yourself and stand your ground and let them know, listen, that ain't gonna fly. That's not how you're gonna talk to me. And you address that person head on. You show no fear. And you just let them know, I don't play like that. You don't talk to me like that. And if they continue, then you just cut that person off. Even a good person will cut people off. A nice person, it's hard for them to let go of people because they value relationships so much. Even if that relationship may be toxic. Because a nice person, they can't stand being alone. They feel that they have so much love to give. They want to give it to everybody, even to those who doesn't deserve it. But a good person will reserve his love for those who deserve it. Once they see someone who is whether unfaithful, or just downright not the type of person that they see themselves really hanging out with. That person may be toxic. That person may be very negative. A good person will cut that off and say, nah, this is not the type of individual I really want to associate myself with. This person will pull me back. This person will put me in a whole different mind frame. That's not the program I'm on. So a good person will set boundaries. A nice person doesn't really have much of a boundary. So in this life, you have to set boundaries, and you just got to let people know who you are. And listen, you're not someone to play with, you know what I mean? So that's what this book is all about. I mean, I'm going to get more deeper into it. I've definitely learned a lot from it so far, from what I've read about, manipulation and deception and stuff like that. And in some cases, when it comes to like business matters, sometimes those type of tactics are needed. We're not living in a world that's fair. It's not fair. Sometimes it would be nice if things were just clear cut. You can be very transparent and people will buy it. People will be understanding. People will be empathetic because we know that things gonna happen, setbacks gonna happen when it comes to business. Nothing is gonna be 100% clear cut. And in some cases, you have to use a little bit of deceit or deception. Because I'm telling you, if you're 100% honest all the time, and nothing wrong with being honest. I'm not saying anything wrong with being honest. But when it comes to certain affairs in life, whether it be government, business, running a business and stuff like that, there's certain tactics you have to use, because if you're gonna be fully blunt and honest all the time, there are people who may just lose trust in you altogether, even though you're honest. Even though you're honest, you could be very transparent, and there are people who doesn't really respect that. There are people who don't really respect transparency. They're like, and they're gonna want to stop either doing business with you, or if you're very transparent, people gonna live in fear. I'm telling you, like, if the government was to be honest with the public at all times, whatever the case may be, the public would lose trust in the government. That's one. They will be very fearful. There'll probably more than likely be more chaos. There will be more disorder. So sometimes you have to use certain tactics where it may be deceptive or conniving, where you're going to keep things in line, where you keep order. Such as like a parent, a child and a parent relationship. Sometimes a child may, when it comes to children, they're very inquisitive. They always want to know something. And whatever the situation is, in some cases, you cannot be fully transparent with the child because their minds can't really conceive it that much. It's either their minds can't really conceive or fully understand when you're very transparent, and they still gonna do it anyway. At times, you have to be a little deceptive. Like, say for instance, give you an example. Say for example, a child always want to go in your closet. You have things in the closet where it may be expensive or whatever the case may be, and scratch that one. Scratch that one. Try to find a really good one. Yeah, like for instance, all right, say this, you have an office. This is just an example. Say you have an office in your house and you tell your child to keep out that office, but they want to always go in there. You may have certain things like documents, and you don't want your child, because you know how children love to play with stuff. They may be very destructive, ripping things up and stuff like that. If you be honest and say, listen, I have documents in there, I don't want you going there and messing up, their minds can't conceive that because at the age that they're in. So they don't understand what are you talking about. So you may tell them something like, there's a monster in there. Something like that. There's a monster in there. He's gonna get you and eat you. That more likely will put fear in the child that they would even try to even go in there. So in certain cases like that, you're gonna have to use a little bit of deception, just to keep order. So those are some of the things that I've learned. And me, I'm gonna say by nature, I'm more so a very transparent and honest person. And what I realized by being that way, there's a lot of people that don't really respect that. I'm not saying everybody don't. I'm not saying that. There's people that do, but there's people out there who doesn't accept that. Especially when it comes to them. People want to be buttered up. They just want you to tell them what they want to hear. Even when you try to tell them the truth about something, they don't want to hear that. They get very dismissive, and they are on the attack. So sometimes it's just like, yo, you can't win. You can't win. I'm telling you, life is crazy like that. Life is crazy like that. But you got to know when to pick your battles. You got to know which tactics to use in life if you want to be able to, get ahead. If you're building a business, I'm telling you, it's not the easiest thing. There's certain things you have to deal with. There's a lot of stress that comes with it, but there's times you have to use some of these tactics if you really, really want to get ahead. And I know sometimes it's a difficult thing, because then you split between morality, wanting to be moral, but at the same time you want to be successful. But in that situation, you got to pick your battles. You got to know what field you're in, and just do what you can. Still be authentic to yourself, but at the same time, if you want to get ahead, there's certain things you have to do. There's certain things you have to do, and it's definitely good to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, people who already made it, people who are already in the business that you may be going into as well. Surround yourself with people like that, and they'll definitely teach you the ropes. If they see you have the ambition, they see you have that hunger, trust and believe they will help you get to the next level. So anyway, hey, I hope this video encouraged you or open your eyes in some ways. Hey, if you want to pick up this book, you could get it on Amazon. I got it on Amazon for a pretty good deal. So yeah. So I was just thinking about it for these past few days. I'm like, man, people like to be deceived. They don't like to hear the truth. And it's just crazy sometimes. And then when you tell them the truth about, whether it be about them or it could even be about yourself, sometimes they wouldn't even believe that. And it's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. But anyway, that's my video for today. This is Pro-Verbs. Hey, if you like this video, please click that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, press that subscribe button, hit that notification. Please, I want to build up my subscribers. Help me out, y'all. Please watch my video, please. Well, anyway, hope you're feeling this one. This is Pro-Verbs tuning out. Peace.